Recording. Yes, indeed. All right, today we are going to program the TI-84 to solve the quadratic formula. So that means we can find x-intercepts, right? Let's share something and see what we can do with that, huh? Okay, so here we go. We want to put this in. We want this to go in. So we're going to put in the A, the B, and the C. We're going to tell the calculator those three things. What it's going to do is it's going to solve the quadratic formula, which you remember, I hope, to be like this. Minus 4AC. All of that divided by 2A. So everything here has to be divided by 2A. We have to take the square root of everything inside there, right? So it's gonna take the data I give it, put it in here, solve it, and what comes out is the x-intercepts, if there are x-intercepts, right? Because there's three things that could possibly happen, right? We could, in fact, have two x-intercepts. Or we might have just one x-intercept right there. Or we could have no x-intercepts at all, never crosses the x-axis. Well, when there's x-intercepts, it's going to find them both. And the cool thing is, if there's not any x-intercepts, like this never crosses the x-axis, there are still complex answers, complex numbers. They're called complex zeros because they're still numbers that make this problem right here equal 0, right? So we can use the quadratic formula to find the x-intercepts when they are any x-intercepts, or it'll even find the complex numbers that make this thing equal 0. They're called complex zeros, and we'll do that as well. Okay, so let's start by programming our calculator. So stop sharing this one, go to the calculator and share the calculator. Oh, it's still got the stuff in there from yesterday. So we need to clean that out, clear that all out, and turn that off. And then second quit right out of there. I think so. Okay, so we are going to make a program. And I need a light. I think I need a light. There we go. I definitely need a light. Much better. Okay, so these are the programs we had already. We are going to make a new one. So I'm going to scoot over to new and hit create. That's what we want. So we're going to go to create a program. Now then, the first thing we want to do is name it. So we are going to name it Quadrat. So it is Q U A D. So it's quadratic. It's the quadratic equation, right? Quadrat. I'm going to stop right there. I don't think it'll do the whole thing, right? Quadratic. No, that's all I got. I'm going to go back and start. Just want quadrat. Quadrat. That'll do it. Ta-da! Okay, so what do we need for our program? Well, this is what we need. We need to be able to tell ourselves what the program is going to do, right? So we have to say, we have to tell it to display. So we're going to go to program and we're going to go over to display, which is number 3, right? So I can go down to 3 or just hit 3. It's going to display something. And if you remember the last time we did this, you have to have the quotation marks, which is on top of the plus sign, and it'll write whatever you want to write. So I'm going to say A. So it's already on alpha, right? That's the A there. And so we're going to say alpha, and we want A, and then X, and then squared, which is not alpha. So I have to get out of alpha, hit the squared button, get back into alpha. No, 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 don't want to get back into alpha. I want the plus sign. Then I want alpha B and alpha X. There we go. And then I want another plus sign. And then I want alpha C. There we go. And then I have to have the plus sign one last time. All right, so I'm displaying that. So that's showing me what I want, right? This is what I have to have in order to solve my problem. So I'm going to hit enter. And then I have to have the values here. So I'm going to say program. And we always start with a clear screen. So I think that's down here. Maybe it's on the other one. It must be clear screen. So we're going to get out of here, over here. Oh, clear home is right there, number 8. So I'm going to hit number 8. Clear home. That's always a good starting place. And then the next one, let's see. No, let's go back to where we were. Second quit. And so if you make a mistake, you hit the program, and then you go over to edit, and we are editing number 2. And so far we've got that, right? So I need to go to the end of this and hit enter. There we go. Then I have to have the mode button. So get the mode button. And what we want is it to be in complex mode. If it's not in complex mode, it can't solve for the A plus BI stuff. So I'm going to hit enter, and that's what it does. Okay. Oops, what did I do? I hit clear. If you make a mistake, you just go back and do it again. All right, so I was trying to hit enter, and I did not hit enter, did I? Okay, one more time. Enter it is. Kaboom. Enter again. Kaboom. All right. So we need to get the A, B, and C. So we are going to go over one. We're going to go down to number 2, and it's going to ask us for alpha A, and then the comma is right above the 7 there, alpha B, and then another comma, alpha C. And we are done with that. Hit enter. Yay. Now then, we have to tell it what we want it to do. Now remember that we want it to solve the quadratic formula. So if it's going to solve the quadratic formula, then it needs to be able to work out the stuff that's inside. So remember that inside the square root, we had a parentheses, and that was b squared, alpha b, and then squared, minus 4 times a times c. That all was inside the parabola, and that's called the discriminant. So I am going to store that in alpha d, because the discriminant is the part of the quadratic formula underneath the square root. So we got it made in the shade. All right, next, what do we need? We need to tell it to do the quadratic formula. So here we go. We are going to say enter. And then we're going to say negative b. And then I hit the wrong thing. So I have to clear out of there. Start all over. We can do it. Hit the program, go over to edit, then go down to number 2 and hit enter. Okay, where were we? We were just about to say negative b. Okay, so that was alpha b, and then remember that it's plus the square root and it's minus the square root. Square root of what, you say? Why, it's the square root of d. So that's alpha d. Close my parentheses. And then, oh, that whole thing has to be divided. So I have to go all the way back over here. And I'm going to insert a parentheses. So I'm going to divide the whole top. So I have to close that parentheses. I'm going to divide that by parentheses 2 times a. If you recall, that's what it is. So the quadratic formula says the opposite of b plus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, that whole thing divided by 2a. So let's store that in a storage facility. Remember, any letter of the alphabet works. So I'll just choose X. Why not? After all, we're finding x-intercepts, right? And then we'll do it again. So I have to parentheses, negative, alpha, b. This time we're subtracting the square root of alpha d. That's the discriminant. And then we have to divide the whole thing by 2a. 2 alpha a. Close that parentheses and store that in a different memory location. Let's do a. Y. How about that? Ta-da! Okay. Now then, we want to be able to see that answer. And so we're going to hit enter. Now then, when we see the answer, we want it to say, what do we find, right? So we're going to go over here and we're going to say display. And then remember, you have to do quotation marks. So we're going to have quotation marks. And then, oh, since we're spelling everything, let's just do that. Second alpha says that's X. And then remember, right above the 0 is the space. And then we're going to say intercept. So I'm going to spell, if I can, intercept. So that's the I, and then the N, and then the T. I am so slow at this. Intercept. And I'll probably spell it wrong because that's what I do, right? Intercept. X is a Y. Intercept is a C. That's right there. And then another E. And then a P. And then a T. Oh, I forgot where I found the T. I just found it a minute ago. There we go. And then an S again, right? We will see if that works. That might fit. And then the quotation marks. And we are done. Kaboom. All right. And now I want to display the answer. So program over 1. And remember, there are 2 answers. So we are going to display them both. We're going to say X. And then we want it to be, if it's a fraction, we want to know it. So we're going to go to mode. Not mode. Math. We're going to go to math. just plain old math. There we go. So we're hitting the math button and it's fraction. That's what we're doing. So we want x to be a fraction if it's possible, and if it's not, it'll be fine. And then enter. And the other answer was in y, remember? So let's do it again. So program, kaboom, 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 display, which is 3. And then y, which was alpha 1. And then math, and then fraction, because that's what we want. We want a fraction. If it's going to give us a fraction, that's what we want. And then I believe we'd be done. Let's see. Well, let me look to make sure all the way up here. I'm going to insert a line, so I'm going to do second insert, which is the delete button, right? Insert a line. There we go. And I am also going, if the answer is a decimal, I don't want to have 17,000 decimal places, so I'm going to fix the decimal to be just 3 decimal places. Okay, that's what I want. Now we've got it all made. This. It's going to do the whole thing. Let's just hope it works, huh? Okay, so we can tell it to stop. Why not? Program stop. Isn't that at the bottom of this? Didn't I just see that? And it's right there. Go to wait. Yes. I guess I didn't see it over here. I thought I saw, oh, there it is. Stop. Stop. Ta-da. All right. So let's get out of this. Second, quit. Now then, we're going to try it out. Program. So we got to go down to quadrat and hit enter. And enter one more time. Okay, so remember, what are we trying to do even? We're trying to find the quadratic answers. So it says, what is A? Well, here, let's do this problem right here. We've got x squared. 3x squared. What am I saying? 3x squared plus 11x minus 4. There we go. Okay, so what's A? A is 3. So we're going to put in 3, right? So I'm going to turn that off, hit that, and say 3, and then enter. And it says, what's B? I say it's 11, and then hit enter. And then what is C? And I say -4, and enter. And so it's going to do the quadratic formula and tell me the x-intercepts. 1/3 and -4. So remember, what does that mean? That means that my parabola, if this is the x-axis, -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right there is one of my x-intercepts. -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. And then 1/3 is right there, approximately. So my parabola does this. Just like that. I know where the x-intercepts are. Just like that. 1/3 and -4. Hoorah! So that's what your question is going to look like on today's homework. Let's do one that has complex numbers. So we want to clear all my drawings out of there. We want to do it again. So all I have to do is hit enter. Oops. All I have to do is hit enter, and it'll start all over again, right? Ta-da! Program. And then, how come it doesn't say ax squared? I think I messed up my program. So what's this one gonna be? Well, I want it to be x squared minus 4x plus 13. All right, so what's A? A is the number in front here. It is 1. So I'm going to put in 1 and then hit enter. What's B? -4. Hit enter. What is C? 13 on the nose bone. Hit enter. Now, look at that. We don't have x-intercepts. I should say, these are not x-intercepts, right? I think my program needs a little work, but these are complex zeros, right? What this means is the parabola, where's my picture? The parabola does not cross the x-axis at all. It looks like this, right? But it still has two numbers that make this equal 0. There are two numbers. One of them is 2 plus 3i. See, that's what that says. It's got decimals in it. But one of the answers, the way we would write it, we wouldn't write all the decimals. We would say 2 plus 3i, and then we would say 2 minus 3i. Remember that whenever you find complex, or whenever you find the numbers that make this equal 0, they are always complex conjugates. Remember, the x number is the real number is the same, but the imaginary number is opposite. So that's what this one is. The real numbers are the same, 2 and 2, they're exactly the same, but the imaginary numbers are opposites. So these are the two answers that make this parabola right here equals 0. So that's what today's homework's like. Enjoy. I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to turn off the recording.